On June 27th, 2011, at the end of Monday Night Raw, after CM Punk came down to beat down John Cena after Cena's match, CM Punk got on the mic and cut one of the most memorable wrestling promos that people have heard in ages. Um, a lot of people still debate to this day if it was a work, a shoot, or a worked shoot. But regardless of what it was, it's changed the landscape of WWE a little bit. Um, they're starting to not insult the fans' intelligence as much as they used to. CM Punk on that night was wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt while he was cutting his unscripted promo. And to me, that I scratched my head over that for a couple weeks and asked myself, okay, why did he wear the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt? It's quite simple, actually, now that I think about it. And in my mind, and maybe in Punk's mind, he had his Austin 316 moment where he finally came out and decided to be himself. Where Austin did. You know, Austin, before he did the whole Austin 316 promo, was the ringmaster protege of the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, who held the $1 million title. To me, it kind of reminds me of another era. Like CM Punk reminds me of something else that's happened before. You know, in the late '80s, early '90s, Hulk Hogan was the face of pro wrestling, was the face of WWE, and he was a great entertainer. But then in the early mid '90s, along came two guys. One guy was half of the Rockers, and one guy was half of the Hart Foundation. Two very successful tag teams. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart began to show people what wrestling ability was all about. Hulk Hogan was a great entertainer, but he was not a great wrestler. Guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were telling stories in the ring and letting their wrestling do the talking. This day and age, John Cena is this era's Hulk Hogan. And I call John Cena and Hulk Hogan's style the robotic style of wrestling because they have their five moves and then their 5 minute poses. And in this era, there really hasn't been a Bret Hart until, in my opinion, CM Punk arrived on the scene with the promo. Um, you know, CM Punk has a lot of wrestling ability. I believe that CM Punk is now the new face of professional wrestling. Whereas John Cena is a sports, you know, I love how CM Punk refers to himself as a professional wrestler and not a sports entertainer like you're supposed to in WWE. I like the fact that CM Punk is everything that WWE isn't for the most part. Obviously, he's still employed by WWE and whatnot, but I respect what CM Punk's doing. Whether he has creative influences behind him or whether most of it is his material. That to me, I mean, no matter what it is, it's still innovative. It's still, you know, unheard of what he's doing for the most part. CM Punk should be feuding with guys like Alberto Del Rio and John Morrison. I'll go back all the way to late 2007. Mid to late 2007. The rivalry between CM Punk and John Morrison on ECW was one of the great. I'll say it right now. It was one of the greatest wrestling rivalries that's taken place in the WWE in quite some time. And it was on the third rate show. It wasn't on Raw, it wasn't on SmackDown, it was on ECW. And to me, I think if John Morrison could get his act together and stop talking trash on Twitter and his social networks, I really truly believe that John Morrison could have the makings of a Shawn Michaels and that CM Punk has the makings of a Bret Hart. And together, you know, make people forget about John Cena. I'm not saying I totally dislike John Cena or totally hate his guts or anything like that, because he bleeds WWE. He eats, sleeps, breathes, and bleeds WWE, and he's a company man. That's great and everything. But here's a little side note for all you women and children that love John Cena. The whole reason John Cena got big to begin with was not because of hustle, loyalty, and respect. It was because of basic thugonomics. The chain gang, the rapping, the throwback jerseys, wearing the hat backwards, the knuckles, the F you can't see me stuff. That's what got John Cena over. John Cena was himself. John Cena acted who he kind of acted like in real life. And all of a sudden, he won the WWE Championship. And out he comes in some, hustle, loyalty, respect hat, and then some hustle, loyalty, respect t-shirt, and a pair of jean shorts, and a pair of sneakers. And, the sneakers and shorts I can deal with because he was wearing those anyways when he was doing the rapping gimmick. But it's the whole fact that he's playing he acts like a Marine and salutes the crowd when he goes out there. John Cena's not a Marine. I'm nothing against the Marines or anything, but if you're not one, don't act like one. If anyone's going to be a Marine in the WWE, it should be Randy Orton, who was actually a Marine. Back on the CM Punk and, John Morrison and stuff like that. The reason people forgot about Hogan in the mid 90s, like in 93 and 94, was because guys like Shawn and Bret were putting on shows with their wrestling ability. Not doing 5-minute poses, blah, 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 blah. And, not, being innovative with what they were doing. Bret was innovative with submission and technique and, stuff like that. Where Shawn, he was innovative by being the first in a ladder match at WrestleMania, being in the first Hell in a Cell match, being in the first one-hour Iron Man match on pay-per-view with Bret, being in the first Elimination Chamber match. So, it's like I tell people, CM Punk is what Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were back in the 90s. And John Cena is what Hulk Hogan was. To me, the direction they should go is continue the CM Punk and Triple H feud, because that has the remakings of Austin versus McMahon all over it. I remember Jim Ross said that there would never ever be a feud again in WWE that would reach the emotional boundaries that Austin McMahon did. Well, Jim Ross, I respect you, and I think you know what you're talking about, but the CM Punk and Triple H feud is pushing emotional boundaries and getting really, really close to being a Austin McMahon-like feud because it's so personal. And the thing of it is, what makes it even better is the fact that Triple H and CM Punk really don't like each other behind the camera. I mean, that's been well documented backstage. It's been well documented by the writers and everybody else that talks about wrestling. Um, to me, CM Punk can be a great heel and can be a great face. But here's the thing, he's doing kind of what Austin did. The more anti-establishment he's becoming, the more people love him. Just like Austin. The more rules Stone Cold broke, the more people loved him. And I just, I think CM Punk has got it. He's got what it takes to be the face of professional wrestling. He's got the skills. He's got the mic skills. Got the wrestling skills. Yes, I'm drinking Pepsi. Sorry about that. I know it's kind of cliche because of CM Punk's tattoo, but I like Pepsi. Anyways, um, like I said, CM Punk, start feuding with guys like Alberto Del Rio, John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger. Feud him with Christian. Feud him with Sheamus if they turn Sheamus heel again. Feud him with Randy Orton again if Orton ever decides to turn heel. Feud him with his AO. Heck, why don't you bring Colt Cabana, Chris Hero, and Claudio Castaneda up on TV? Start feeding guys to Punk to feud with. Let him have great matches. Let him show the fans that know what they're watching and know what the product's all about. Let them put on great matches for everybody. Nobody likes a 20-minute promo. Nobody likes, somebody with only 5 moves. I mean, they like people that can tell a story in the ring, not outside of it. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. If women and little children, didn't watch wrestling, John Cena would be nowhere. John Cena would be irrelevant with the way he is now. If John Cena would have stuck with the rapper gimmick and basic thugonomics, everybody, John Cena wouldn't be getting booed because people loved his raps. People loved that he trash talked, the establishment, trash talked the heroes, trash talked the villains. He just trash talked everybody, which I think it was great. And to me, that's what made John Cena successful. Not this hustle, loyalty, respect, model, and then the robotic wrestling style that he has. To me, I'll say it again, CM Punk is the new face of professional wrestling. CM Punk has what it takes to take wrestling to the next level. I mean, think about it. He's smart. He's a smart businessman in a lot of ways. Because here's the thing. A lot of people want to see Punk versus Austin in next year's WrestleMania. And what are they doing? Both of them are feuding with each other on Twitter. And I'm telling you, it's going to lead to a match at WrestleMania 28 in Miami, 2012. Because, what would be better than the biggest rebel of today against the biggest rebel of 10 years ago? Because to me, Punk's doing to Triple H what Austin did to McMahon. Challenged him. But the difference is, Triple H puts up a fight, which I like. I like the fact that Triple H, isn't Vince McMahon and acts all cowardly and stuff like that. I like the fact that Triple H was a wrestler, was a badass, was the game, was the Cerebral Assassin, carries a sledgehammer behind the shoulder, everything like that. That's what makes the feud almost better than Austin versus McMahon, is the fact that the establishment fights back and fights back without being dirty in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, like I said, I could rant on about so much stuff involving CM Punk. I mean, I've been watching CM Punk since his Ring of Honor and TNA days. Yes, he was in TNA in the beginning of TNA, and he actually had some really great matches with Terry Funk and a few others, and he was very anti-establishment and villain-like back then. But you know, it's funny. Another thing that comes to my mind is, you know, CM Punk is actually a good role model because of the whole straight edge thing. He doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, doesn't smoke, nothing like that, and he stays true to his words. Unlike Hulk Hogan. Remember Hulk Hogan's phrase, everybody? Say your prayers, train, and eat your vitamins. Well, you know, Hulk Hogan was proven to be on steroids, proven, you know, been accused of doing drugs, and apparently renting his wife out to other wrestlers. What kind of role model is that? I don't think it's one, and that's why I don't really look up to the guy anymore. I mean, he was my hero back then, and I'm, you know, still put on the red and yellow every once in a while. But for now, this is these are my colors. Black, red, and white. Best in the world, CM Punk. And you know what? To me, the whole best in the world saying from him isn't just a saying, isn't just a motto, isn't just a cliche. To me, CM Punk is the best in the world at what he is doing right now. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. He knows how to, you know, get himself out there. You know, where else, where else in sports entertainment or professional wrestling are you allowed to call a microphone a pipe bomb? I mean, that's original. I mean, to me, I mean, because pipe bombs are used by terrorists, and, you know, CM Punk's no terrorist, but you get what I'm saying. So, you know, like I said, I could rant on for hours about, you know, CM Punk and what, in my opinion, how he's changed the business. But you know, this is just some of how I feel about the guy. I think the guy is great for the business. I think in 5 to 10 years, everyone's going to be looking back to June 27th, 2011, when he cut loose on the establishment, when he went off the hook and off the script on the establishment and started changing the landscape of professional wrestling again. And to me, it's like I told somebody, I only buy t-shirts of wrestlers I can get solidly behind. I'm solidly a CM Punk fan. Call me a mark, call me obsessed, call me a crazy fan. But I respect what the man does in the ring. And I don't mind acknowledging that. As I used to acknowledge Hulk Hogan's greatness. I acknowledged Shawn Michaels' greatness. I've acknowledged Stone Cold Steve Austin greatness by buying their shirts and wearing their colors proud because I could stand behind them. And that's how I feel about this whole thing. So that's it for me for the night. Continue to watch wrestling. Continue to cheer for who you want to cheer for. Continue to boo whoever you want to boo against. But remember, 5 to 10 years from now, people are going to be talking about what CM Punk did for professional wrestling. So, you guys have a good night. Comment below if you feel like. Give me your feedback on anything you want to give me your feedback on. So, you know, straight edge, baby. Hollywood's world of sports. Controversy doesn't come without criticism. And that, to me, fellas,